The Roots of Leadership. For generations, the life of Abraham Lincoln has been passed along to American schoolchildren as a motivational story of how hard work, honesty, and perseverance can lead to great things. The traditional Lincoln legend goes something like this. Lincoln grew up in a log cabin in Kentucky. His family was poor, and he educated himself by walking miles to the homes of neighbors to borrow books. As an adult, he fostered a reputation for honesty and fairness, which continued to follow him throughout his life. It was his natural likability and talent for oration that led him into politics. This was the beginning of the road that would lead Lincoln to the White House, known as the Executive Mansion. It's the rags-to-riches story of an uneducated young man from a poor family who, with no prospects, rises to hold the highest office in the land. So, how did Abraham Lincoln begin life in a log cabin on what was then America's frontier and become an icon? While Lincoln's roots ran deep to a wealthy family in Virginia, his own family was far from affluent. Lincoln was the namesake of his grandfather, Abraham Lincoln, who had come to the wilderness that was then Kentucky. There, a man with little or nothing could carve out his own life for himself and his family. The first Abe Lincoln in Kentucky was able to purchase a large tract of wilderness acreage. Unfortunately, he would not live to make his family rich. While clearing land with his 3 sons in 1784, he was killed by Indians. As one brother, Josiah, ran for help, the eldest, Mordecai, ran to the family homestead, where he grabbed a rifle. He held off the Indians until help arrived. At some point during the skirmish, the youngest son, Thomas, was almost attacked. He was saved when Mordecai shot dead the Indian who was about to kill his brother. This little brother, Thomas, would be the father of Abraham Lincoln. The death of the senior Abraham Lincoln was the event that sent the Lincolns even deeper into debt. Abraham's wife, Mary Lincoln, was now a widow with 5 children to care for. She was forced to sell most of their land, a reported 1,700 acres. As was the tradition in those days, what little was left went to Mordecai, the eldest son. That left Thomas Lincoln with little more to take out into the world than his own 2 hands. He put them to good use, learning the carpentry trade. Thomas Lincoln was working in a carpentry shop in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, when he met the owner's niece, Nancy Hanks. Nancy was the daughter of Lucy Hanks and had been born in a part of West Virginia which at the time was still a part of the state of Virginia. Family histories claim that Nancy's mother was Lucy Shipley, and that she was never married to Nancy's father, who is reported to have been a man named James Hanks. Young Nancy lived first with her grandparents, Joseph and Anne Hanks, until her grandfather's death. She lived with her mother for a time after Lucy's marriage to a man named Henry Sparrow, then with Lucy's sister Elizabeth, who had married Henry's brother Thomas. At some point, she went to live in the home of Richard Berry, working as a seamstress. This is where Thomas Lincoln is said to have proposed. Nancy was 23 when she married Thomas Lincoln, and the couple moved into a home in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. It was there that a daughter, Sarah, was born. Little is known of Sarah Lincoln's life. It would, no doubt, have been similar to her brother's. She looked after her brother and a cousin, Dennis Hanks, between the time of her mother's death and her father's second marriage. In August 1826, Sarah married Aaron Grigsby, but her married life was brief. She died after only 1 year, on the 20th of January, 1828, in childbirth. Sometime after Sarah's birth, and before Abraham's, Thomas Lincoln decided his growing family needed a larger home. They moved to a farm about 3 miles from Hodgenville, Kentucky. Thomas was said to be an easygoing man without ambition, that he did work, but only as much as was needed to support the basic needs of his family.